Let's start with some facts I came across while researching for this video. First is this number 26,000 crores, and this is the amount of health insurance claims that were disallowed or repudiated as of FY24. I also came across the survey on money control, which found that 50% of health insurance claims were either partially or fully rejected, while 8 in 10 policyholders felt their claims were deliberately delayed. 8 in 10, 80%, that's a lot of people, which begs me to think,
कौन है ये लोग? कहां से आते हैं ये?
just having some fun. And while I don't know these 80% people, I do know these four individuals, Chetan, Khilan, Kush, and Siddharth, who have recently gone through the health insurance claim process. They were kind enough to share their experiences in detail, and based on our in depth conversation, I have selected 10 crucial best practices to help you make your own claim process as smooth and stress free as possible. Before we dive in, a quick note, this video is sponsored by Ditto Insurance. They've been supporting my work for many years. I'm also a proud customer of theirs, and even while going through this video, you'll see how incredible their services are. But don't sweat it, I'll try to keep the content on point and as balanced as possible. This one's a bit longer than many of my other videos, but if you've never claimed before, I promise you it'll be worth your time. Let's begin. Right, so if you want 100%, forget 100%. Even if you want a single paisa of claim, you have to declare your pre-existing diseases and ailments honestly and explicitly. I've purposefully added this word explicit because when it comes to insurance, health, term, whatever, just informing the agent or the call center executive is not enough. Which means, firstly, you have to write down everything, even the smallest ailment for which you're taking medicine. All this goes into the application form, online or offline. And secondly, make sure your policy document specifically mentions your PDs in it. The consequence of ignoring this can be rather severe, as Kush found out. Here, let's have a listen.
I told the agent same thing. He's taking medication for BP and cholesterol, and my mother is taking for BP as well. He said, "Fine, sir. Nothing of the issue. Like everything would be like hunky dory. From day one, you can claim anything." He claimed from hospital. वो पे गया कैशलेस था तो कुछ पेमेंट स्टार्टिंग में देना नहीं पड़ा, बट उन्होंने रिजेक्ट कर दिया, सेइंग दैट आपका ये डॉक्यूमेंट चाहिए। उन पापा ने अपने पुराने पेपर्स लाए, जो भी उनकी फाइल थी वो हॉस्पिटल वालों को दे दी कि आप देख लो आपको क्या क्या चाहिए। उन्होंने जो प्रिस्क्रिप्शन थे उसकी फोटोज अपलोड की, एंड देन कि सर आपने नॉन डिस्क्लोजर किया है, आपने ये नहीं बताया कि आपको हार्ट प्रॉब्लम है, CAD व्हाट दे सेड, कोरोनरी आर्टरी डिजीज। एंड पापा ने बोला यार मुझे नहीं पता ये चीज, मुझे ये पता है कि मुझे कोलेस्ट्रॉल का इशू है, मेरा डॉक्टर भी यही बोलता है कि सर कोलेस्ट्रॉल कम करना है, वॉक करना है, वॉक करने से कोलेस्ट्रॉल कम होगा, आपका हार्ट बढ़िया है, नथिंग टू।
So in this case, Mr. Jain, the father of Kush, he missed out on disclosing his current medical condition during the porting of his policy, which was entirely accidental. But because an insurance contract is based on the principle of good faith, any non-disclosure, even if it's unintentional, it does give the insurer a solid reason to reject the claim. What makes this case even more absurd is that the claim was for diarrhea, which, to the best of my limited medical knowledge, isn't exactly a direct precursor to a heart condition. The lesson here is simple when dealing with health insurance. It's in your best interest to A, give a full and honest disclosure of your medical history at the time of application. And when I say history, पिछले 10 साल का भी दे देना. And secondly, ensure that everything and anything material to the insurance contract, your medication, your injuries, any surgeries you've had, make sure all of that is written in your policy document, लिखित में होना चाहिए, so that there isn't any trouble when you eventually make a claim. Okay, so if you all heard of the phrase terms and conditions, it's often shown as an asterisk in brochures, website. It generally ranges from a few lines to a couple of pages, but when it comes to health insurance, one should simply assume everything, every single thing is nothing but a term or condition. This includes the design of the product, the benefits, waiting periods, sublimits, deductions, exclusions, and just about everything in the middle. One of the most common and misunderstood element in a health insurance plan is the waiting period. And very simply, for accidents, there is no waiting period. For hospitalizations, it's typically 30 days. For pre-existing illnesses, it's 3 or 4 years. For some specific illnesses like cataract, hernia, joint replacement, it's 2 years. And things like maternity, dental, etc., might have its own waiting period. My point is, all of this is clearly written in your policy contract, and it's hugely in your interest to read that document. 1 hour, that's all it takes. And if that too feels like a bit too much, then simply upload the policy wordings to an AI model and let it explain to you what every term, condition, clause, subclause in your policy means in plain and simple English or any other language you might prefer. Now, take Chetan for instance. He's someone I spoke to, and his first thought were that his father's claim would not be entertained because he had only recently purchased that health insurance policy.
दूसरा चीज मैंने किया कि I called up Ditto. I told him that this is the case, this has happened, because at that point of time even I was not sure that whether it will get covered up, because 4 महीने पहले इंश्योरेंस लिया था नवंबर में. So I was not even sure कि whether this kind of case will get covered, though they have walked me through the wordings and everything. तो मैंने फिर से उनसे पूछा कि ऐसा ऐसा है, will it get covered? तो उन्होंने बोला कि yes, absolutely it will get covered, because जो waiting period है, it is for already pre-existing diseases and all these things that you ऑलरेडी डिक्लेयर. सो उसको उनके मतलब फॉर्चुनेटली उनको कुछ प्री एग्जिस्टिंग डिसीज वगैरह कुछ था नहीं, एंड दिस इज समथिंग दे कॉट अप ड्यूरिंग ये देयर ऑल ट्रैवलिंग स्प्री. So they advise me to you go ahead with it.
So, see, this is lack of awareness, and in an insurance scenario, this will do nothing but create a dissonance between expectations and reality that completely derails the claims experience. The same happened with Khilan. He was surprised by some unexpected deductions for post surgery doctor consultations. Let's listen to this.
मंगवाए कंपनी से, तो उसमें भी ये कोई वो भी कल ही डिडक्शन आया, तो उसमें कंसल्टेंसी चार्ज का वो क्या उसने माइनस कर दिया कि वो 24 डेज का स्टे था, तो उसमें डॉक्टर विजिट का कंसल्टेंसी में लिया था, तो वो भी 1000 रुपीज है. तो उसको अभी आज तो सैटरडे संडे, तो मंडे को उसको कॉल करना है फिर से कि कंसल्टेंसी मीन्स डॉक्टर विजिट ही होता है ना, तो डॉक्टर ऑपरेशन के बाद तो विजिट के लिए आएगा ही. तो उसका भी वो उसने काटा है, तो उसका भी बोलना है उसे.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with him. He should definitely challenge this. And I recall even Chetan was denied some 25,000-30,000 rupees of claim. In this case, the oxygen charges were billed separately. They weren't included under the ICU charges, which is weird because logically the oxygen and ICU should go together, right? Anyways, we all know now that stuff like this can happen. So do make it a point to go through every line item before the hospital bill is finalized. You can work with your insurance advisor on this. Work with Ditto. Absolutely, they know their stuff. And you can also approach your doctor or the TPA desk at the hospital, assuming they have time to help you. This might surprise many, but insurance companies here in India process almost 3 crore claims every year. So that's like 80,000 a day, and understandably, every insurer has a system of processing claims, a series of specific steps. And if a policyholder were to deviate from these, then most definitely this would lead to delays and even rejection of claims. Now, the question is, what exactly is this claim process and how do you even know about it? Well, my first advice, please read this article by Ditto. It clearly explains what to do in the event of a claim, the documents, step to follow, cashless, reimbursement, common pitfalls, and even what to do if your claim gets rejected. This understanding and the proper execution of these steps is what helps Siddharth receive some 97-98% of the claimed amount, which comes to a good 3 lakh rupees.
I think 12 hours before the hospitalization, I sent an email on behalf of my dad to the TPA as well as the medical insurance. And the TPA in this case was Health India. So they asked me like what was the reason for admission and like what is the expected amount of duration for which he will be admitted to the hospital. So we mentioned the reason that it's due to the hernia surgery as recommended by the doctor, and the rough duration is 2 to 3 days post operation. And later on, we received an email from them stating what all documents were needed by them for claiming the reimbursement. So I remember it was roughly a list of 22 to 25 documents, different documents which they needed. So I think my dad got admitted in roughly around 18th June, and he was discharged on 21st June. And on the day of discharge, and even after the operation was successfully done, I made sure that I had the list of documents which were mentioned in the email handy with me, and I used to connect with the doctor as well as the staff in the hospital to ensure that I'm getting all the documents in the timely manner so that I do not miss out on documents while submitting to the health insurance.
So, although this was 2025 documents, and remember, this was a case of reimbursement, not cashless. I'll come to that in a minute. But fortunately for Siddharth, the collection of these documents, all of it was done in about a week without too much trouble. A useful tip he shared while conversing is that even though one can courier the claim documents, it's far better to hand them over in person at the insurer or TP's office. And yes, always keep photocopies or scans of every document that you submit. Chetan too had something similar with respect to keeping records. Let's listen in.
As per the insurer that you have, already they'll give you the timelines and everything, the documentation which is required, तो वो आपको मिल ही जाएगा. But make sure that when you're going through this process, you keep track of all your expenses. तो मेरे केस में ऐसा हुआ था कि I used to pay everything through UPI apps, so I used to get the receipts everything. But in case अगर आप कैश से पे कर रहे हो, in case of reimbursement specifically, अगर आप कहीं पे कैश दे रहे हो, तो यू मेक श्योर दैट यू गेट द रिसिप्ट्स फॉर इट. बिकॉज बहुत बार क्या हो जाता है ना कि छोटी छोटी चीज़ों के लिए अगर आप कैश पे कर देते हो एंड यू डोंट गेट द रिसिप्ट, बट वो छोटी छोटी चीज़ें एट द एंड ऑफ द डे इट काउंट्स अप एंड it is a huge sum. When these guys came up at home, so they asked me for everything. So whatever you have paid, you just show us the the records and everything. So I given them all the UPI screenshots, the apps that I play through, the screenshots of all the receipts, everything that I shared them, because I did pay through the phone entirely.
I mean, it's like that scene from Jerry Maguire, right? The insurance guy walks in and says to Chetan, "Show me the money!" And thankfully, Chetan did have the receipts to show in terms of where, how, and how much was spent. My key takeaways from this section are: firstly, get clarity from your insurer or agent on the intimation timelines, document submission protocols, etc. Secondly, be proactive in gathering documents. Start early, keep a copy of the records, and please don't assume someone else is going to do this for you. And finally, please remember follow ups and resubmissions are often a part of the process, so don't get frustrated and please follow the defined steps. Alright, so let's break down the two types of claim procedures. Firstly, there's cashless. It's used more for planned surgeries. The insurer directly settles the bill with the hospital, so the policyholder doesn't have to pay anything upfront. And then there's the reimbursement process that applies when you're treated at a non-network hospital or if the cashless approval is denied. And this is basically where you'll have to pay the hospital first and then apply to the insurer for a reimbursement. So very simple to understand. And although I'm not aggressively favoring one over the other, but whenever possible, try to use the cashless option. This will not only save you money, liquidity, you also won't have to run around for the documents, and the entire process is pretty fast. In fact, Kush is someone who has had it both ways, as in his father's claim was done via the reimbursement method, while his wife's hospitalization went through the cashless route. Believe me, Kush and I would have spent a good 15 minutes on his father's claim process. But now listen in to how he describes his wife's cashless procedure.
I just gave the cashless card to the hospital, and they did not charge me for anything. They just said कि आपको एक form भरना है, admission form, and just pay for 300-400 rupees for processing charges, something of that sort. And I just paid that, and they said कि we'll do everything from our end. And their TPA, I think TPA, it's what it's called. They contacted the insurance agent, and they, whatever they wanted, they submitted. Hospital submitted, and it was through them only. I did not have to pay anything. When my wife was discharging, so we had to wait for I think 1 hour at max, where everything was sorted out and the claim was processed, and they said we are good to go.
Easy, smooth, without a hiccup, and everything was sorted within an hour of discharge. I think this was a bit too smooth. I've done multiple cashless claims for my parents, and generally the discharge takes about 3 to 5 hours. One has to be a little patient, but as a guideline, and to have a better claim experience, always verify if your chosen hospital is a part of your insurer's cashless network. To the extent possible, do opt for a cashless facility, and to the extent possible, avoid checking into a hospital that has been blacklisted. A blacklisted hospital is generally one that has been flagged by the insurer or TPA for inflating medical bills, substandard care, fraudulent activities, and stuff like that. Insurers often reject claims from such blacklisted hospitals, so avoid them unless it's an emergency and do check your insurer's website. Almost all of them have a list of blacklisted hospitals. I know this is a lot of work: plan samjho, terms and conditions, claim process, records maintain karo, network hospital, blacklisted hospital. Yeah, there's definitely some work to be done here, but if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed and you'd rather have someone to guide you, to help you with all this, then that's exactly where Ditto comes in. As an insurance advisory platform, the team there helps you choose the right health insurance policy depending on your needs. They'll help you understand what's within the policy, the wordings, benefits, exclusions, waiting period, sublimits, etc., and all of it in a simple, understandable format. Ditto will never spam you, it won't try to upsell or cross sell you something you don't need. And very relevant to this video, they offer free claim assistance to their customers, which, as you've probably realized by now, is an incredibly valuable service to have. So if you're still unsure on which policy to buy, how much coverage, or if you want someone to walk you through the fine print, then just book a free 30-minute consultation call with a Ditto advisor, and I'm sure you'll be supremely impressed. As always, the link is available in this video's description. Right, so if you haven't filed a claim yet, you'll probably not realize it, but your relationship with your healthcare provider, your hospital, doctor, the staff coordinating your treatment, all of them can play a surprisingly significant role in how smoothly your claim gets processed. Let's start with the doctor, and clarity in medical documentation is extremely important. Ensure the doctor clearly mentions the diagnosis. The documents you have should clearly state the need for hospitalization, and if you don't have any pre-existing condition, please have the doctor mention that as well. Remember, insurance companies often call the treating doctor to verify details, and most of this documentation will go a long way in helping you out. And it's not just the doctor, the entire hospital staff plays a role, especially in cashless claims. Take Siddharth, for instance. Actually, let's listen to him.
2 weeks after submitting these documents, we got a follow-up email from them wherein they had certain pointers for which they needed additional documents. So one of the pointers was they needed the original stickers of the mesh which was inserted into my dad's surgery. So luckily, the hospital staff had already provided me the original stickers and packaging of the mesh, stating that sometimes these insurance companies ask, and if you don't provide them, then they might get a reason to reject your claim.
Now, for a regular policyholder like you and me, it's impossible to foresee that an item which has been inserted into the body or has been used in the surgery, uska bhi proof chahiye. And in Siddharth's case, this mesh he's referring to, this was almost 1/3 of the entire hospitalization bill. So he should really thank the hospital staff that proactively provided him with that. Of course, I can understand this from an insurer's perspective as well. I've worked in multiple insurance companies, 3 of them actually, and believe me, there are enough policyholders, agents, and even hospitals who will not think twice before committing an insurance fraud. In fact, per the Insurance Institute of India, insurance companies lose around 600 to 800 crores annually on account of fraudulent healthcare claims. So insurers have to be cautious, and you as a claimant also needs to be well prepared. The good thing is, from everything I've seen, across 4 participants plus my own experience, doctors, hospitals, and their staff are usually supportive, and building a good rapport with them can make a huge difference in how easily you get the documentation, how smooth and how successful your claim process actually goes. Okay, while DIY, do it yourself, is definitely possible, having a knowledgeable and supportive agent or advisor can make a significant difference, especially when it comes to claim time. I'll speak of Ditto here and the fact that it's now a powerful intermediary. Ditto is able to leverage its position with insurers, ensuring better responsiveness and transparency. Chetan was a clear beneficiary of this. Here's what he had to say.
सबसे बेस्ट तो they have direct communications with the insurers. I mean उनका direct follow up होता था, तो मुझे वो ऐप में बैठने नहीं पड़ता था. मैं चेक नहीं मतलब मेरे, अगर आप 2 दिन भी चेक करो तो सेम ही स्टेटस दिख रहा है, आपको पता नहीं क्या चल रहा है बीच में. अगर आप उनसे पूछो कि भाई ऐसा ऐसा हो रहा है, तो दे यूज टू शूट अप दे, मतलब मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम ऐसा हुआ है कि मैंने उनसे पूछा कि क्या हो रहा है, बट उसके पहले ही उन्होंने फॉलो अप ले लिया था ऑन माई बिहाफ ऑलरेडी. तो उन्होंने दे मीन मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम ऐसा ही हुआ कि मैं उनसे डिट्टो से पूछ रहा हूँ कि अभी तक ये स्टेज में ही है, उसका फॉलो अप आपने लिया क्या, तो दे यूजुअली यूज्ड टू सेंड मी द स्क्रीनशॉट्स ऑफ द ईमेल इटसेल्फ. Obviously the mask, they used to mask the names, the sender और जो भी है, जो भी उनका जिनके भी साथ उनका कम्युनिकेशन हो रहा है, वो डिटेल्स मास्क होती थी, बट द डेट एंड टाइम स्टैम्प आई कुड स्टिल लुक एट. तो मेरे पूछने से पहले उन्होंने फॉलोअप ऑलरेडी ले लिया होता था. तो they used to just give me that update. So I think that is nice thing, because आपको चेज नहीं करना पड़ता था. They take it their responsibility कि आपका क्लेम बराबर सेटल हो जाए, and the experience was really nice.
I'm not singling Ditto here. Even individual agents can do a fantastic job of this. And as a policyholder, it's on us to find the right person or platform to work with. While Chetan was lucky, Kush had to endure some challenges, which ended with the agent blocking his number without offering any sort of resolution. In fact, with Khilan, it was something entirely different. So let's listen to this.
इससे पहले भी एजेंट से एक बार बात हुई थी, तो एजेंट ऐसा बोल रहा था कि मेरे में क्या वो क्लेम रेशियो ज्यादा हो गई है, पूरा का पूरा जो होता है ना, जैसे कि वो बोल रहे थे मैंने कहा 70-80 लाख का क्लेम पूरी कंपनी को दिया है और उसके सामने मेरा एक 1.5 करोड़ का क्लेम हो गई है. इसीलिए क्या अभी उसी उसको भी अभी उतना उसका रेपुटेशन वो अच्छा करना पड़ेगा.
Did you get this? So basically, the agent, Khilan's agent, has sold policies worth some 70-80 lakhs of premium so far, but the clients he onboarded, including Khilan, had already made claims worth some 1.5 crores. So that's a loss ratio of 200%, which is extremely high. And acceptable loss ratio is around 65-70. So 200 is extremely high, which means three things can happen with this agent. A, the insurance company might blacklist him for some time, or they can apply additional underwriting parameters saying that आपसे हम कोई PD case नहीं लेंगे. Or thirdly, the insurer can reduce the commission, so instead of 20%, the agent might receive only 10%. The bigger point is this agent, to protect his own standing, is actually advising Khilan not to file a legitimate claim just to keep his loss ratio in check. That's very unethical, no two ways about it. And it also defeats the very purpose of insurance. And most importantly, it serves as a reminder for all of us why awareness and knowledge matters so much when it comes to health insurance, and not just insurance, but for any financial product. My suggestion is choose your insurance agent wisely. Don't just go by how good a salesman he or she is, and always try to assess how good they are with claim support by taking references and asking around. Alright, if your claim is ever unfairly rejected or delayed, then rather than venting it out on LinkedIn, please remember there are a number of redressal mechanisms that can be employed. Before I say it, let's first hear from Kush, who faced multiple rejections from the insurer's internal grievance cell until he escalated the matter to Bima Lokpal, who then ruled it in his favor.
1, 2, and 3 is email. They have their contacts on website, and you can just contact them through their website, because I was the only one who was doing everything, so I used the app of that, tried doing that 1, 2, 3.
So 1, 2, 3 here means the escalation matrix that every insurance company provides on their website. So contact 1 would be the customer service, 2 might be the claims manager, and contact 3 would almost always be the insurer's designated grievance redressal officer.
After that, they only, it's there on the website. I think it's mandatory, otherwise they won't tell. You can go to grievance for Bima Lokpal, or regulatory of IRDAI has created Bima Lokpal. So I found out the email, I found out the procedure online, how to do it, because registered it on their website first. There is a Bima Lokpal website where you register your claims and everything. Then they contact with you after 1 or 2 months. After reading everything, they'll ask you, they'll do both the things. They'll contact you on email and as well as on the post as well, on your registered address. So my father was getting mails as well, and I was getting emails. So I was replying to them promptly, as prompt as I can, to every whatever they were asking. They give us these documents, give us the rejection letter, give us your prescription, give us your old policy which you were paying since. So everything was there. So we were continuously doing that. And there was two meetings with Bima Lokpal. One when both the parties were there, my father and the person, and they both gave their own like set of events, how did it happen. And my father is a teacher, so he just said कि सर मैं ऐसा ऐसा हूँ, मुझे इतना नहीं आता, ये मेरा बेटा कर रहा है, मुझे सिर्फ इतना पता है कि मैं इतने टाइम से इंश्योरेंस की पॉलिसी में पैसे दे रहा हूँ, मेरे पास ये सारी पॉलिसीज हैं पुरानी. एंड दे आस्क कि आपके पास पुरानी पॉलिसी है तो आप हमको भेज दीजिए. And once I sent the policies to the Bima Lokpal, दे सेड कि इनका कवर होना चाहिए, एंड क्योंकि ये ऑलरेडी पेइंग कस्टमर हैं, मतलब प्रीमियम पे कर रहे हैं सिंस more than 8 years, so he should be covered under any bima. And it is your labs ki your agent said he's porting, but he gave him the new policy, so they said that to now what did was, because क्योंकि ये पॉलिसी न्यू थी तो उन्होंने स्टार्टिंग डेट 2017-18 कर दी, तो उनको प्रीमियम का जो पैसा देना था उसके थ्रू वो उन लोगों ने एक्सेप्ट किया.
Okay, so it took a few months, but Kush eventually received his full reimbursement. The renewal of his policy is still pending, but the claim itself had a positive outcome, and this experience should at least be a reminder to all of us that a rejected claim is not the end of the road. Most of the other claim stories we have covered in this video, including the wife of Kush, her hospitalization, all these other cases had a relatively happy ending. Of course, my bigger point is please be aware of your rights as a policyholder. You can always take the help of Ditto. They do a lot for their customers. And if you feel your claim isn't being handled fairly, then don't hesitate to escalate the matter through the insurance grievance system, and if necessary, do reach out to the regulatory bodies like the Bima Lokpal or the IRDAI. Okay, so let's recap what we have learned so far. Number one, before applying for a claim, carefully review all the clauses. This includes the room rent, sublimits, co-payment, exclusions, etc. Disclose your pre-existing diseases. Ensure these are clearly mentioned in your policy. Prioritize policies offering extensive cashless network facilities for faster and convenient claim processing. Maintain records of all medical and policy-related documents such as prescriptions, diagnostic reports, hospital bills, the discharge summary, receipts, and even stickers. Ensure timely intimation to your insurer or TPA. Please follow the processes as defined by them for smoother claim handling. Be prepared for thorough investigations, especially if the policy is new or if the claim value is on the higher side. Work closely with the doctor, hospital, and medical staff. From the filing stage until the entire claim is processed, these guys are generally helpful. Be cautious when working with agents. And while many of them are sincere and honest, not everyone will prioritize your interests, so try to be more self aware. Alternatively, you can consider working with reputable platforms like Ditto, who offer comprehensive claims assistance, and that too free of cost. And finally, utilize the official grievance and dispute resolution mechanisms that are available to all policyholders in case your claim is rejected, reduced, repudiated, or if it is taking too much time. Yeah, that's it. I hope this video gives you a much better idea on how to handle claims more effectively. I definitely learned a lot from my interactions, and I hope you did as well. I would particularly like to thank Chetan, Khilan, Kush, and Siddharth, who took out the time to share their real life experiences and helped us with many practical tips and suggestions. Would like to thank Ditto as well for sponsoring this video and supporting my work. I've been a fan of these guys for many years, and now with claims assistance being a part of their offering, free claim assistance being a part of their offering, there's even more reason to consider them for your health and term insurance requirements. If you're still on the fence wondering which policy to buy, then do book a 30-minute free consultation call with a Ditto advisor, and I'm pretty sure you'll be super impressed. Thank you once again for your time. Do like this video. Please do share it with your friends and family members on your WhatsApp groups. This is an important video. Subscribe to my newsletter. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you very soon. Until then.